his 17th meditation, Nunc lento sonitu dicunt, Morieris. Now this bell tolling softly for another says to me, thou must die. A midnight ring from half a world away tolls my only brother's sudden death. Lying dead, handset recradled, sleep returns. I wake to find bedclothes scarcely messed. We long were distant islands to each other. I stood Esau to his Jacob as a boy. My fields the sea, his tents the libraries. DNA proved inadhesive. No genes sutured the rifts between us, and the news was less vexing than a tree fall in my garden. We hoped for more, a fetal element feeding fondness for our kin, a shared enzyme sealing first cousins, best of friends. From propinquity, Gileadan balm. But boyhood hatred, dumb decades apart, changed blood to water, degaussed genealogies. Abel becomes Cain's pathogen. A shrug in the cell metastasizes through isolate null points of the tribe into skull patties and black snow in June. Religious tapestries woven from old deities cannot conceal trenches we dig between us. Ancestral chemistry stands hooded on the scaffold, testing trap and rope for all. It is the face on the school run who mouths hello, a torso hunched on the next bar stool twice a week, a high school sweetheart back, a man selling ceramics I collect, dying of AIDS, whose curfews heave the clapper, summoning tears, the shiver in the neck. So there are a lot of biblical allusions to the rivalries and hatreds in families. I do read the Old and New Testaments frequently because the former in particular is great trove of folk wisdom. The latter a cache of dreams and hopes by and large. And I'm fascinated by the experience of other tribes much earlier on and what they say about things that have been glossed over and hidden. And it's the hidden things that hurt you. What you see shouldn't. What you know in advance, you're okay with. People coming at you from the front, you can deal with. It's a knife in the back that's the real problem.
Yeah. Actually,
and that, go ahead.
The point when in the book it dawned on me that you and your brother did not have a good relationship or a warm relationship was the point where you mentioned that you kept the dreidel that was given to you on your desk at Cambridge, but that you didn't know what happened to the dreidel that your brother had. And I thought to myself, that means distance. That lack of knowledge of, that this is obviously such a personal item to which you have attached so much of your identity, and we talked about that, and yet not knowing what happened to the dreidel that your brother had, to me that signified distance.
You were exactly right. We were raised completely differently. We might as well have been in different families. Mm-hmm. My mother had aspirations to paper over or to sugarcoat the world she'd come from, and she raised my brother and my sister very different. In order to do that, they were shielded from the violence and all the rest of it. Right. My brother was, to some extent, I think, a large extent, ashamed of his background. Not surprising as I think about it, my mother's fear for life, my father's life. And my brother became, he joined the club. He literally joined the fancy clubs in Connecticut. He was a successful man, financially successful, died early. And when he died, he was buried in San Francisco. He'd been general counsel of Bechtel, which is not a company that's particularly favorable to Jews. My sister went to the service for him, the memorial service, and was astonished when people were shocked that he was Jewish. That he'd become a Unitarian, or whatever you become if you have no views but want to be quietly Christian or Congregationalist. And he just hid the world he'd come from. He went fly fishing, where my father and I were rough deep sea fishermen. Very different worlds, fly fishing from the deep sea fishing. And my brother, I doubt very much whether he kept the dreidel or anything like that. He was ashamed. He wanted to be part of the great new America, which I, of course, left. I went to Britain, became a British citizen, gave up my American citizenship, and I'm much happier, if I can be happy. I certainly love parts of Britain. I love Britain.
You gave up your American citizenship after George W. Bush won a second term, is that right?
Well, that was the end of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to be a member of a body politic that can elect that guy twice? I mean, the argument that he wasn't elected the first time, that I understand. Excuse me. But a second time, with your eyes wide open? Come on. He was hopeless. And he was very dangerous. And he wasn't mean-spirited. He wasn't a racist, interestingly enough. But he was a dreadful president. And his re-election confirmed my concerns about the country.